What's up everybody, Andrew, American Brew here, showing you a little bit of different kind of content today. We're here at Imperial Highline in Tyson's, a brand new dealership here that pretty much has everything that you would want. Behind me is this beautiful 2016 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT-S in black. And we're gonna do a little walk around, show you the inside, get a couple revs, and see what this car is all about. Mercedes-Benz AMG GT-S was styled after its big brother, the SLS, that had the gull-wing doors. And this one came in at a significantly lower price, although it wasn't cheap. Starting, they were around $150,000, so depending on the options you got. So as you can see from the front end of the design here, very much influenced by the SLS. Super long nose. I just want to get a little low so you guys can see how big and wide and menacing and mean the front end of this car is. It's like got such a, mean mug on it, right? You got the massive Mercedes badge in the front. You never question what kind of car this is, It's got the new style grille with one bar on each side, and it's got these beautiful headlights. You can see here, it's got these three little headlight modules down there, the main headlight here, and then an LED strip that I'm assuming is for turn signals there. So again, Mercedes does lights very well. Beautiful headlights, beautiful taillights. So the Mercedes AMG GT-S came out with 503 horsepower, pumped out from its 4-liter twin-turbo V8 and 479 foot-pounds of torque, which rockets this beast to 60 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds. And it does the quarter in the mid-11s. So this thing is seriously fast. When this car came out, I remember that it was a challenger to the Porsche 911, right? But the Porsche 911 can never really have a true challenger because it's the only 911, yada, yada, yada. But I do remember that this was a very capable alternative choice to the 911. And so I think that it's worth checking these out if you're in the market, especially now. This is a 2016. These have come down in price, so a bargain for your speed for sure. As we walk around here, you'll see it even more. Just how long that front end is and that nose is huge. It's got the optional black satin finished wheels on it here that are, in my opinion, the best wheels you can get on the car. And showing through the wheels, you can see that beautiful big AMG gold brake caliper. This one's got Michelin's on it, so you know that it's ready to hit the track. As we continue to walk down here to the side of the car, you can see it's got that very sleek design, and it has that bubble roof towards the back. And now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is not a super low car. It does look very long and wide and sporty, but it's not one of those mid-engine, Ferrari, Lamborghini, that sort of thing. It's not a very low car. This kind of bubble up cabin here is actually taller than you would think. So I'm sure there's going to be good headroom inside because it's not too low. And as we keep going back here, we've got these massive, massive rear tires in the back. Coming around the back further, you can see it's got the little lip spoiler that flips up at a certain speed, and it's got that really wide rear end here with those nice LED bar taillights. I love the taillight design of this car. It was one of the first cars that has these little LED capsules within the brake light bar, and they look so good at night individually lit up like that. So it's obviously daytime now, but I love the look of these sleek taillights. One of my favorite design element and features of the AMG GT-S is this side vent, and it's so cool to me to have the V8 biturbo written into these two silver bars and the black mesh. A lot of AMG cars have had that, and I think it's great they continue that design element into the AMG GT-S. It looks so aggressive at the front of the car. I also like how the front of the car has these big vents in the bonnet here, or the hood, to vent heat out. I think it looks really aggressive, and in a different color other than black, they contrast even more. So I love that feature. Okay, and now let's take a look at the interior of the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT-S. It's interesting, the door is actually not as big a door as I thought it would be. It doesn't swing way out. It's actually kind of a shorter door because the cabin is a little shorter and stubbier than I thought. So nice, heavy, weighty door. I like the mirror design. This is a pretty neat little element for that mirror stalk there. And so let's get in here and I'll show you. This one has the AMG racing seats, you can see, that have the fixed headrest, and they have the harness holes there in case you do want to set this thing up for the track. And you can actually see that there's a fair amount of room here. It's pretty snug, but the headroom is definitely there. And in the back, you can see there's actually a really nice little almost a luggage shelf back there that you could probably fit a fair amount of things in. So storage space is a pretty high point for this car, I would think. And so here we are sitting in the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT-S, and I gotta say, the seat with the fixed headrest, it's actually pretty comfortable. The side bolsters definitely hug me, you know, and I'm not like a huge beefy guy, so you know, if you are, then this may not fit you, but they definitely hug me. They feel pretty tight. I think it would feel great in the turns. It's not too overwhelming, so you could probably take this on a cruise, you know, or some kind of road trip, and I think you'd still be okay. It's a pretty great feeling here. There's a ton of light coming in from the back, and that rear window is actually huge, and it's pretty deep too. So you have great visibility out the back. I'm used to driving mid-engine cars where you get this tiny little rear window, and the rear window visibility is horrible, but here it's actually great. You can see a ton back there. It's almost like the same as a normal car. So that's a great point for the AMG GT-S. And so he's got these tiny windows back here that'll help you when you're driving and trying to check your blind spots. You can just look right through the window and see what's back there. A lot of cars don't have that. And so you can see in here, we've got a typical big, thick-rimmed Mercedes steering wheel. For those of you that are fans of gripping like a thick steering wheel, then this is the one for you. It's got a nice centered notch up above, nice carbon fiber backed AMG dials for the tach and the speedo. We've got our beautiful machined metal pedals here that have a great click and feel to them. If you can listen to this. Very substantial. There's nothing cheap or plasticky about that. We've got our two Alcantara sides at the 9 and 3 positions here. You can see it's very driver focused. You've got this huge tunnel that separates the passenger and the driver. Got all kinds of fun buttons here we'll get into in a minute. Comes up to your climate control vents that are symmetrical across the top, and then a nice big flat screen up there. I will say the windshield is pretty narrow. It's not a very tall windshield, and I guess that's just a product of how big the bonnet and the front of this car is. Wow, the front of this car goes on for miles. It's tough to even see where it ends, but I know it's pretty long up there. The side windows are pretty small, just because this cabin and cockpit feel, it is pretty small in here. And so the windows are shorter. And so now comes the point in the video where we are going to fire her up and see what she sounds like. We know that every AMG is all about the sound, so let's give that a shot. So foot on the brake, key is in my pocket, and we've got the start button right here. Okay, that is very cool. And you can hear immediately the sound outside of that low, deep AMG thunder rumble. You can already hear it, and it sounds great. And I want to give you guys a couple revs from inside the cabin so you can get a sense of what that feels like. Over here, in part of the center control stack, there's a little button for exhaust, the loud button. And so you know we want to hit that. So right now, let's just give this a couple revs and see what it sounds like. Oh, can you hear that? Wow. Sounds great. Now, let's go ahead and hit that exhaust button. And now let's see what that sounds like. Oh, wow. It just takes up the level. It's everything amplified that we just heard. And now I want to go to the back and give you guys a clip back there to see what you think. It's meant to be a comfortable tourer, so they've got all their controls right here on the steering wheel for your phone, your volume, and your voice control, all of that. You've got your typical, it's kind of the same as every Mercedes, easy to navigate window controls and everything, your mirror controls. Parking brake is down there, no handbrake in the middle. You got your light controls there. They even leather wrapped this climate control vent over here. I love that. And the theme in here is definitely the aluminum look against the black leather. And you can see here on this center stack, we've got the mode, so you can change it here from individual, which is, you can set it up how you want to. You can change it to comfort for cruising, sport plus for the even more extreme driving scenarios, and then race for when you're really feeling frisky and getting on the track. Although be careful, because that's going to turn off all of the electronic nannies, as Jeremy Clarkson would say. So over here, you've got your power, your volume. Change it to manual shifting there instead of automatic, which means that it'll defer to the paddles. So that's how you do that. And that is automatic stop start, which I know a lot of you would turn off forever because you don't care about fuel economy and you just want your car to be on all the time. Told you about the loud button right there for the exhaust. And over here we've got two cool buttons. We've got this that takes off traction control, and you saw those big 295 Michelins in the back. Those will get spinning in a hurry under the 479 foot-pounds of torque once your right foot mashes the gas and you have no traction control on. I'm not going to do that here because it's a dealer car. And down here you have the suspension setting, so you can change this from a comfort setting to various levels of tautness for how aggressive you want the suspension to be while you're driving. And here you've got your gear selector. You can see pretty standard typical fare from Mercedes, and this pad right here is for your touch instructions to the navigation and media unit above, so you can write things into this. You can scroll with this. It's similar to what Lexus and every car maker has now, so you can either use gestures with your finger or you can scroll with the dial, whatever you'd rather do. And you know this is a grand touring car and not a hardcore track toy because it has two cup holders right in the middle. In fact, I would be shocked if this thing didn't have cup holders because the center stack is so wide. And back here, you can see you've got a really nice center armrest that opens up to give you actually a very nice deep storage cubby that has your cigarette lighter and what you can use for power, should you need that. And here is your glove box, and this car actually, being a touring car, has a great normal size glove box. And so you can actually fit some things in there besides just a couple pieces of paper. And back here you can see you've got all your luggage space and you've got your strut bar that goes all the way across. A pretty cool look that doesn't really interfere with the storage too much. I love the look of these seats, how they've got the metal for the harness to come through and the fixed headrest. I think AMG did these seats really well, and they're pretty comfortable too. So they will hold you in place and not get you too sore over a long road trip. And so in short, I think that this would be a comfortable compromise between something that you could drive really aggressively and something that you could also take on, you know, a couple hour long road trip and you'd still be comfortable. So this is probably a good middle ground between something that's more hardcore like the AMG GT-R and something that's a little cushier like, you know, an SL, something of that nature. So this is probably what I would call the Goldilocks Mercedes, because it's not too hot, not too cold, and it fits just right in the middle. And I want to give you guys a little bit of a listen to what the exhaust sounds like on this car just at idle. This 4-liter V8 just at idle. So this is with the valves closed in quiet mode. And so there you have it. A walk around every 2016 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT-S, finished in black on black on black, with the black paint, the black wheels, and the black interior. This is one of the many cool cars they have at Imperial Highline in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. So if you're looking for something like this beast or one of the other many cars they have, check their inventory out online, stop by, and see what they can do for you. And this has been Andrew, American Brew, coming to you with a look around of this Mercedes-Benz AMG GT-S. Catch you guys next time.